It's Mindy Audlin. It's What If Wednesday. I am thrilled to be here with you. This is our weekly check-in where you can share your wins, you can share what you've been working on, and of course, you can share your challenges, your goals, your dreams, and anything that you would like to what if up with me and with our community. So thank you so much for joining. I want to welcome all of you that are new to our community. We love seeing our community grow. So welcome to all of our new members. This is, if you're new to What If Upping, this is how it works. Anytime, anywhere. If you're in our community, you can post like, hey, here's something I'm working on. Here's something I'm stuck on. Here's something I'm thinking about. I'm looking for ideas, looking for possibilities, looking for a way to see things differently, or maybe just looking for another option that maybe you hadn't considered before. So you post it here in our community, and every Wednesday I'm here with you live to go through and see like what's going on in your life, what's happening with you, and how can I support you? How can we support each other in bringing hope and possibilities to the things that are real in your life? So that's how it works. This week, here's what's been showing up, and I think it's really, really valuable to talk about as a community. So a lot of times here in our What If Up Club, we talk about the inner journey. What am I feeling, and what am I experiencing, and what do I want? So a lot of this is like, okay, I'm at a point of power. I am a creator, co-creator of my experience. I'm creating with this infinite intelligence, and I'm taking ownership, and I'm empowering myself to be creative and resourceful, knowing that we have this amazing gift of imagination that can generate possibilities, can generate new ways of thinking, new ways of doing things, new strategies to get us from where we are to where we want to be. And all that's great. It's great to read the self-help books and to do the inner work and to meditate and to come to things like this and to work on ourselves. It's all great. But the thing is, when we actually start creating things in our life, have you noticed almost always there are other people involved? So this week, I want to expand our idea of how you can use this tool, not just as something you can do on your own, and not just as something you can do with a community of people that are like-minded, who are right there on board with you, but how do you use this process with relationships, like one-on-one, significant, important relationships? How can you use this mindset to be able to give yourself more options for how you can work together with your partners, with your kids, with your boss, with your coworkers? How do you use this process when you're trying to create your thing, but you've got this other person in the equation, and maybe they're not on the same page as you, right? That never happens, right? Sometimes it happens. So what do we do with that? All right, so I want to share with you, if you've read the book, What If It All Goes Right? You're probably familiar with this. So this is what I call the creative cycle, and I'm going to sketch it here for you so you can see it. And then I'm going to show you how you can use this cycle in your relationships to overcome those moments where you're feeling stuck, you're feeling like you're not heard, you're feeling like whatever, a negative feeling attached to that interaction with your partner, with your kid, with your colleague, whoever it might be. Okay, so you ready? This is good stuff here. This is gold that I'm sharing with you. This is like change your life. This has changed my life, having this particular model. Okay, so let's go through the creative cycle. It's a circle. So if you want to draw one at home, draw a circle. And I'm going to put this here. I'm going to call this the creative cycle. Okay, let's see. So we have the creative cycle. There you go. At the top of this, you can start anywhere because it's a circle, but I start at the top. I put at the top, how do you create the things that you want? Well, we talk a lot about changing our thoughts, right? The What If Up process is a tool. It's a hack that can allow you to take whatever is going on in your mind and turn it around. So when your mind starts spiraling down, what if it doesn't work? What if I can't? What if it's overwhelming? You have the ability to say, well, what if I look at this differently? What if I shift the way I'm talking about this thing? What if I have a new perspective? What if I have a new tool? What if I have a new strategy? So those are all ideas. That's what's happening in my head. And then, let me tell you, there's a lot happening in my head. So paying attention to that is really important, because whatever's going on in your head is going to impact, as we move around the cycle, it's going to impact the way we, the way we feel. So our thoughts are going to have tied to them a certain feeling. If we're thinking, what if it all goes right? It feels pretty good. If we think, what if it's all falling apart? It doesn't, right? It doesn't. So thoughts have feelings that correlate right? I could say it's warm outside and some people would be like, oh, that's great. And some people would think, oh, I don't like that. So I don't know. The feeling is unique to you. The thought might mean something different to somebody else, but the feeling is unique to you. So how does that thought feel in your body? Is it an up feeling or is it a down feeling? So we're going to discern that. And then based on that, typically when it's an up feeling, it's going to lead you to take particular action. Actually, sometimes if it's a down feeling, it can lead you to take action. It may just not be the same action. You know what I mean? All right. So we have our thoughts, our feelings, that leads us to take action. And those actions lead us to a reality, right? There's our reality. And that reality then becomes the jumping off point. And from this point, we have new thoughts. So we look at our reality and we're like, this is great. I want more of this. Or we look at our reality and we're like, in the sense of relationships, what's wrong with you? Why aren't you cooperating with me? Maybe that's the reality that you're finding yourself with in a relationship and you're wanting it to be different. So this whole process, everything that we teach in the What If Up Club, everything that you read about in What If It All Goes Right, is how do you get from the reality where you are to the reality where you want to be? A lot of that you can do on your own, right? You can shift your thinking. And when you shift your thinking, you'll shift the way you feel. And when you shift the way you feel, you'll change the things you do. And that will create a new reality. And that reality, round and round we go. And we talk about how to really move through these consciously. But I just want to stick with this plain and simple model. Because let's say you're in a relationship and you're co-creating your reality. This reality is not just your reality. This is a reality you are creating with someone you care about. Ideally, someone that you care a great deal about. You know, you care about their well-being, just like you care about your own well-being. You want it to be a win-win, but you're co-creating it together. And sometimes we are not on the same page. Sometimes we disagree with each other. Yes? And sometimes because we're different and we do different things, we're not always like, not everybody does everything exactly the way I want them to do it. And so sometimes it's worth a conversation. So this is a tool you can use to have those conversations in relationship. So let's say you're in a reality, you're in a conversation and it's not feeling good, or maybe something happened. Like there's a reality of, I asked you to do the dishes last night and you didn't do the dishes last night. I asked you to pick up your shoes and you didn't pick up your shoes, whatever it is. So there's a reality of something happens and it triggers us. And it's like, oh, now I'm annoyed. Or now I'm angry, or now maybe I've been bottling things up for a long time. And maybe now I'm just ready to explode because I haven't had a good way of resolving the issues that we've had together. You ever have that happen? Oh, I got a story for you, but I'm going to save it for another time. So we have these realities that we create with each other. And sometimes things work out great and it's all smiles and lollipops. And sometimes we can get under each other's skin. We can trigger each other and it can be a lot to process. So here's the key. All right. So here's a tool that I learned years ago and it totally changed my life. I've been using it ever since. I practice it and practice it and practice it because even though I know the tools, the old patterns slip back in every now and then. So to use it consciously, to use it as part of, our community, to get a coach that can help you do this, very, very helpful. All right. So the key is to be able to go to your partner or your person that you're in relationship with and say, okay, I want to talk to you about this reality that we shared. And that's where you say, this is what happened. Last night, I asked you to do the dishes. This morning, I woke up and the dishes weren't done. That is a reality. That's not my opinion. That's not a judgment. There's no emotion tied to that. That is the reality that we had. And when I saw that this morning, when I woke up and saw that, this is what I thought. So maybe it's not a big deal to you. You're like, I'll do it. No big deal. Great. But maybe it triggered something. Maybe it made me think that you weren't listening. Maybe it made me think that I wasn't important, or maybe it made me think that you don't care about the things that I ask you to do. So maybe I think that I'm doing more than my share. So I have all these thoughts that get triggered by this reality that I saw. So I'm going to own this is what I thought when I saw this. Observe this reality. And because I was thinking this is what I'm feeling. So I thought it didn't matter what I said. I thought you weren't listening to me and I feel rejected. I feel overlooked. I feel invisible. I feel disrespected. Whatever that feeling is, this is what I'm thinking and this is how that thought is making me feel. I'm feeling like this because I saw that. And here's what I need. So what I would like, the action that I would like is I need to know that when I ask you to do something and you agree to it, that I can count on you to do it, right? So that would be an action that I could ask for. And then your partner can say, yes, I will do that. Or, that doesn't work for me. And if it doesn't work for them, then you can go through this again and start brainstorming. Well, what doesn't work for you? And what if we could find a system that honors both of us? Like, what if we could find a way to care for our environment or care for clean the house or whatever the thing is? Like, what if we could work that out? So I share that as a tool. I know that it is, there's a lot of anxiety in our world right now. There's a lot of uncertainty, and it shows up when we're not feeling aligned and not feeling joy and peace and bliss. It shows up, and it shows up sometimes, most of all, with the people that we care about the most. So what if you don't let it hold on to it and let it explode? What if you had a tool that would allow you to process through that in relationship? What if our relationships become truly co-creative? What if you have these conversations not because you're annoyed and not because you're mad at that person for what they did to you, but what if you have these conversations from a place of power? What if you have these conversations with a spirit of intentionality and wanting to work things out and recognizing that the relationship matters to you? What if you have these conversations from a place of love, from a place of caring, and from a place of collaboration? What if you actually get to co-create a relationship together? And what if the hard conversations make everything else so much sweeter? What if the people who are willing to have the hard conversations with you are the people who really, really have got your back? I have a feeling that most people want to work together. Most people want to be in win-win relationships. And so what if we had a tool that would give us the structure to be able to do that? All right. That's what I got for you today. That's my tip of the day. What do you think? Is that useful? Post in the comments. Do you have a relationship tip that you might want to share? Post it in the comments. Do you have a possibility about what you could create in your relationships this week? Post it in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And of course, if you feel like, okay, I get it, but I don't know how to use it in this situation with my daughter, with my ex, with my boss, I don't know how to use this. Post it in the comments and share what you're working on. Let us create some possibilities with you. What if there's a tool, a strategy that could make it a little bit easier next time? All right. Thanks for joining me for What If Wednesday. It's great to connect with you. Have a fantastic week, and I'll see you next time.